Hello and welcome to the Complete Lakers podcast. I'm Anthony Wilson, recording from Los Angeles, California. Joining me are my two prestigious co-hosts, Jason Big Mitch Mitchell and David Galvez. How you fellas doing tonight?
Yo, yo,
What
what
up, what
up?
up? Feeling good, feeling great.
All right, so the Lakers finally took a loss in their first round series to the Rockets. It's 3-1 heading into Game 5, which will be back in Los Angeles. Um, I mean, I guess we'll just jump right into it. Um, Shoot, last time we recorded, what was it? Was it just? Well, it was just 1-0 last time we recorded, wasn't it? So
Yeah,
yeah. So
yeah.
it's been three games since then. So shoot, I remember now. Big Mitch said Lakers in six. They called him a madman. I called him a madman.
Right.
And now the Lakers end up going up 3-0. Finally dropped one. Mitch, how confident are you that the Lakers will be able to close out the Rockets on Wednesday night?
Um, I'm very confident. Even, so Austin, might be in line to play. He's been trying to give it a go the past two games in pregame. They kind of shut him down, which, obviously makes sense. We've been handling business without him so far. So you might as well ride it out until we see an actual need. Given the way the game went last time, and we're coming back to LA, I can see Austin playing, but even if he doesn't, I'm very confident. Even if KD plays, I'm still confident. So these Rockets have nothing for us, honestly. And I'm gonna, I didn't see their post game comments, but I watched the game. So I'm just blindly agree with Luke Kennard and Marcus Smart. I saw they got fined for criticizing the referees. The referees were absolutely horrible last game. It's one of those things where I'm watching the game. I'm like, it's like, oh, okay, I see what they're trying to do. They're trying to it's like they're trying to extend the series. They're trying to help the Rockets out.
Mm-hmm.
They're calling little ticky tack fouls on us, and they're not calling it. They're calling fouls on us on the defensive end, but not calling fouls on the Rockets on the defensive end. Um, and growing up hooping, I mean, we're always taught to, you got to play through the referees, right? You have to, as a fan. I don't really I don't have to go by the rule, right? Like so, all I can do is, tell you what I see and what I saw. It's like these refs were trying to extend the series. Like, the first two fouls on Jackson Hayes when he came in, I'm like, those aren't fouls. Like, it was absolutely ridiculous. It's like they're not even trying to hide it. They're clearly trying to get an extra game in LA. Um, so shout out to them because they called just enough. They called just enough fouls, got them enough free throws. The Rockets were able to get a little momentum, and from there they just kind of rode the game out. And obviously the Lakers' bad habits kind of caught up to them a little bit. We had I don't know what we ended up with. It might have been like 24 or something like that. All I know is we had 17 turnovers like through halfway through like the third quarter, which that's damn the refs. Like that's like that's not gonna get it done. Like you can't win like that, especially to a team that that hasn't had their confidence in this whole series. Giving them easy buckets, giving them layups, giving them dunks. So I didn't like that necessarily, but again, I'm not too worried. I know that the Lakers gonna come out in LA. Um, Hopefully keep the turnovers down. And as long as we do that, we don't give them easy buckets, we should be able to handle them in the half court, KD or not. Um, and then, wrap this up with a gentleman's sweep. So I'm feeling good. 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10 confidence that we wrap it up in LA.
Okay. Galvis, how you feeling?
Well, I think if we were to the day before the series starts, even the day before game one, if we were to say, hey, coming back to LA, game five, we're actually up 3-1 with no Luca, no Austin Reeves, you know, I don't even think the biggest of Laker fans would uh, you know, uh, would have said, hey, that's exactly what's going to happen. Um, it took like a crazy performance from LeBron in the fourth quarter in game three. Um, but like Mitch said, I mean, the refs were horrible. Now, it wasn't so much that it was the ticky tack fouls. It's like, hey, if you're gonna call it tight both ways. If you're
Both
gonna let them
ways.
play, if you're gonna
Jeez.
let them play both ways.
All
And
I'm saying.
so, you know, you just want you know, some sort of flow to the game.
Consistency.
And exactly, and the fact that I think we had more doubts about Austin Reeves, right, coming into the playoffs than Luca,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
and the fact that he's even doubtful is like a plus, you know. Um, so now here's my take though. Lakers better play like it's a game seven for a
Yeah.
couple reasons. Uh, you you do not want to extend the series, especially when your best player's 40 plus years, right? You want to make sure he has the proper rest. And two, um, you know, you don't want KD to get healthy on us, or at least
Mm,
be able to play. Even though we did win the game that he played, you would much rather play without KD than with. Um, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, both series have to kind of start simultaneously, right? So even though OKC is like basically swept them,
yeah.
we still have to wait for the Spurs and Nuggets
I
series,
bel
right?
I
Like
believe so. I think according to this, I think so. Sheila told me that the series should start on the second, between the second and the fourth. So, so we should have until next weekend.
exactly. So that is, I think that is the best case scenario for us is ended in five. You don't want to play around with your food. End it and let's get these guys healthy. Now, again, like we've been saying, in the grand scheme of things, doesn't really matter, right? Because we got OKC. Now, I don't know if Phoenix is just that bad or OKC is just, you know, a
Probably both.
juggernaut. Yeah, it's probably a combo of both. But yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised. Obviously we knew LeBron wasn't gonna have shit for game four. It was just unrealistic. Played what, 45 minutes in game
Yeah.
three?
45.
All right. So,
Yeah, so
oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I guess at this point we'll take our first break, and then we'll be right back. All right, we're back. Um, so Mitch was saying he wanted to talk about the situation with DeAndre Ayton, who was ejected from Game Four after a flagrant two. Who was the foul on again? I mean, who did he foul? It was an elbow, right?
Sin Singun,
He
yeah.
hit Shingun with the elbow, I think, and
It was more like a forearm,
a
but okay.
forearm. And they reviewed it right and kicked him out the game. And then KD, kind of got up and this guy KD is something else, man. He wasn't there for game three, but he was there for the game four, and then Aiden gets kicked out and he waves goodbye to Aiden. Um, how did you guys feel about that? Like just the whole ordeal. Do you think the other should have been ejected? And how did you feel about just sort of
Hell,
the, you know,
hell no. That's another example of how the refs are like terrible because Aiden was like the main one going off for us. Um, I want to kind of like break it down from my perspective. I guard the post a lot, right? So, you're taught to put that forearm into their back, right? So but at the moment that Sengun came and was ducked into the post, he kind of bent down and, again, you're taught to put that forearm into their back, right? So when Aiden goes to put the forearm into his back, the way that his back was like angled, he completely missed. And since he was kind of, bent over, he ends up hitting him in the head with, with his forearm. So I'm like, okay, I guess it is clearly like it's clearly like an accident, right? Like I don't like nothing had transpired to where you would think like, oh, he's trying to hit Sengun in the head. What would be the reason for that? It just I don't care what Doka says. Like it just doesn't make sense for him to just all of a sudden crack Sengun in the head on purpose for no reason. So it's clearly an accident, but obviously he hit him in the head or whatever. I don't think there was a wind up. I don't really think there was like quote unquote follow through either. I think it was just kind of a slip, but he made contact with the head. So I thought, okay, flagrant one, you know, two shots ball. Let's move on because I think anybody outside of Houston would, you watch that and you're like, okay, that's unfortunate, but I don't think he did that on purpose.
Okay. Carlos, what did you
Yeah.
think?
So here's the problem. This is the playoffs, right? In a regular season game, I could see why maybe you're
Ugh.
teetering across, okay, um, let's just keep the game under control, right? It's just a regular season game. We don't want anything nasty happening. The real problem I see with this foul is you're setting a precedent. This is supposed to be the playoffs, supposed to be hard fouls, right? There's gonna be harder fouls throughout the playoffs. This is just the first round. So what? Every hard foul you're gonna have to give a flagrant two, right? Because you've already set the bar very, very low. So
Anytime,
any legit foul now it wasn't really a dirty play. It was kind of more, I would say,
no.
like a cheap, like it was like a cheap shot,
Yeah,
right?
I
It was
think
like a nice, it was a
I'd
nice,
say it was
good,
more
clean
careless.
foul. Yeah, it was a good, clean, hard playoff foul, right? Like even the reaction to the Rockets player, it wasn't like he got up trying, like it was just a nice playoff foul, and so that's really gonna screw the playoffs moving forward. This is not good for TV. Um, you know, uh, and it's gonna blow up in their face because now again, um, what's next? A hip check is gonna be a flagrant one. You know,
Yeah, you're right. I mean, anytime somebody gets hit in the head, what, flagrant two?
yeah,
Like, what are we
especially in the
doing?
playoffs. Yeah.
Wild.
Um, how did you guys feel about, uh, like I mentioned, Rich Paul saying to Max Kellerman that Lakers should be happy that LeBron played for them, and also they should be doing whatever they can to make sure he continues to be a part of the organization going forward.
Listen, I tolerate LeBron a little bit more than most Kobe stands.
Mhm.
You know, I, I'll put it to you like this: the Lakers were a billion dollar franchise before LeBron. We're gonna be a billion-dollar franchise after LeBron. Like just plain and simple. Like, just kind of we're the Lakers. We're literally the premier franchise in the league. This ain't the Cavaliers where where LeBron leaves and all of a sudden like ticket prices for us are gonna like go down or anything like that. No, we're still the Lakers, bro. Like this is still LA.
Yeah. I mean, it's a stupid statement because the guy's like 41, right? Um, Now, talent-wise, yeah, sure, he's still a really good player, right?
Yeah.
For a third option. Um, Now, he came to the Lakers at a time where, let's be honest, yes, we're still the Lakers, we're selling out, but we had no star attraction.
No.
So, he did come in and kind of rejuvenate the franchise, for lack of a better term. And but unfortunately, he only brought us one title. And you could say, you know, didn't feel like a real title. Regardless of whether you feel it was more difficult or not, it just didn't. We didn't have a parade. We didn't get to celebrate. It just did not feel like a real title. And so it's a stupid comment just because. Now I get it. That's his agent, right? So he wants the most money for his client. But
Hmm.
come on, man. At this point, I'd much rather give Luke Kennard that money.
Wait a second.
Definitely.
Really? But you guys said before, you guys both said recently
Well,
that you
okay.
got.
So LeBron at
Next year,
20 at
42.
30 LeBron at 30 mil makes 0 sense. LeBron at 15 makes really good sense. It's the same player. It's just the money. It's
It's just
you
how do you
know.
justify only paying him $15 million a year when look what he's doing in the playoffs? Like he's
Well,
good
that's the
night.
one thing. He's the problem is he's also the only one out there of the
Yeah.
big three. At 41, and you got two guys in their absolute prime in their mid 20s that can't even sniff playing time because they're hurt. It's not a good look on them.
No.
Yeah. Freaking for like kind of freak injuries though, you know what I mean? Like, but yeah.
Okay. So we're gonna take another break, and then when we come back, we're gonna talk about. Well, I don't know yet, but you'll find out when we get back.
Hmm.
All right, we're back. So the NFL draft was last week. Um, the Rams made one of the probably the most discussed move of the first round when they took Ty Simpson at the what was it, number 10 or number 13? I forget.
They're
13.
13.
13, right? Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and yeah, Ty Simpson at 13. So he's going to be the quarterback of the future there with the Rams after Matthew Stafford retires. But before we get to that, I wanted to ask McMitch about the Vikings. The Vikings took defensive tackle Caleb Banks from the University of Florida. He's a defensive tackle, right, Mitch?
Yeah.
Right. Mitch was saying he's huge, like 6'6", I think he said, 325 pounds.
Yeah. 327. Don't short him on those. Don't
Okay,
short him on those
320.
2 pounds.
Yeah, 327. Um, I mean, how you feel about the pick, Mitch? Like, you feel like it's going to show up that defense up the middle? They said that's how you should build a defense is up the middle.
Yeah. So I mean, NFL games are won and lost in the trenches, right? So I mean, we definitely had to kind of shore up the defensive line a little bit. We ended up uh, we lost Jonathan Allen and Jonathan Hargrave um, along the line, which I mean, they didn't quite live up to their contracts either way. Um, I think we re-signed Jalen Redmond, which I mean he was flat out he was probably our best defensive player all year. Not even just on the defensive line, he might have been our best defensive player like insane. Came from nowhere. Came from the UFL. Um, you know, makes the team and he's making impact plays all season. So we get some help from him. Get a big guy that's gonna pick up blockers, stop the run game. I mean, when we're going, in our division, we got the Packers, Lions, Lions, Bears. They all three have good quarterbacks, solid run games. Um, they've got Josh Jacobs, Jameer Gibbs. Um, Josh Jacobs, Jameer Gibbs, and what's that fool's name? Kyle McGonaghy from the Bears,
Hmm.
and then and Swift from the Bears as well. So I mean, decent run games, obviously good quarterbacks as well. So we need guys up the middle to kind of stop that. Um, so I thought it was a good pick. He seems like a dog, man. Like he broke his foot, right before the combine. He still did, when he did the combine, when still did the drills. That's the kind of dog mentality you need, especially in the trenches. So I'm excited for him. We drafted a whole bunch of very interesting prospects. So I'm curious to see who's going to hit, um, who's going to make the leap and try to start day one.
Okay. Um, Now Galvez, uh, Ty Simpson, like I said, he went to the Rams. Um,
Yeah.
I like what Dan Orlovsky said. At first, I liked it because I always think, well, I think I look at the Rams and the Eagles as two franchises that when did they mess up, right? Especially the Eagles as far as talent evaluation goes, right in the draft.
Hmm.
Um, but the Rams, they're
I
so-so.
know when the Eagles messed up.
Wait, when did they mess
Hmm.
up?
In 2020, they took uh, I forgot his name because that's just how it goes.
Mm,
But they took a receiver
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
that
They took
that was not named Justin Jefferson, and they had the pick right before us.
okay.
So they messed up.
Yeah. But yeah, so okay, well, yeah, but the Rams, I was so number one, like I said, anytime the Rams or Eagles do anything, I tend to trust them. I also like Ty Simpson coming out of Alabama. Didn't love him, but I liked him. I think he's the type of guy who the fit matters, and this is what better fit because you get to go on the Rams to play with Sean McVay, and then you also McVay being such a quarterback where you figure if McVay likes him, who knows more than McVay, just like Andy Reid or whoever. And I like what
Yeah,
Dan Orlovsky said, which was that history of this has gone well. If you think about the Chiefs drafting Mahomes, they already had Alex Smith. You think about the Ravens drafting
right.
Lamar when they already had Joe Flacco. Think about the
True.
Packers drafting Jordan Love when they already had Aaron Rodgers. That's three for
Right.
three, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Definitely.
uh,
Huh?
but and then I was and that
They drafted Aaron Rodgers when they had Brett Favre.
right.
So
Facts.
But then
Yeah.
I was thinking about it and I was going, well, I listened to Rob Parker. He was saying, well, basically, the Rams are already one of the odds-on favorites to win the Super Bowl next year. They could have used that pick to really just solidify that. So Galvez, I want to ask you, how do you feel
um,
about it? Since I mean, we are from
so
LA, but Mitch is a Vikings fan. I figured.
yeah. So depending on if you want to see the cup half full or half empty, right? So yeah, we're win now mode. We could have gotten Makai Lemon. We could have really gotten a really great receiver, especially like with Devontae Adams being a lot older and uncertainty of Puka, the guys in rehab and all that shit. So, but to be honest, uh, to be able to sit behind Matthew Stafford and we have him for 5 years on a quarterback rookie deal, we're never going to pick in the top 10 unless something like really drastic happens during the season. Um, so I like the pick. I mean, I know they say he only started 15 games, but he's gonna sit out a full season, maybe even two, depending on Matthew Stafford. But
Mm-hmm.
and then you just gotta trust that the Rams are pretty much they hit on almost every pick. Either they're a decent, solid player, or they turn out to be really, really great players. So they have a really good track record. But a little side story that I heard was there was a little rift between McVay and Les Need, not Les Need, uh, the GM, I forget his name. I can't think of his name right now. But supposedly the GM, he had like some sort of relationship with Ty Simpson's dad that goes way back,
Oh,
and so it's
shit.
almost like, yeah, I'm gonna draft your son, cause I fuck with you like that. And so, you know, uh, the story is Sean McVay really wasn't on board with that pick, and that's why, um, you know, the uh, the body language after the draft was not there. They're really uh, looking into that. So, hopefully it doesn't cause too much of a rift because Sean McVay and that GM man, they got a good team going. Yeah, Leslie, there you go. That is his name,
Yeah,
Leslie.
that's me.
So yeah, so um, but we'll see what happens. I mean, NFL quarterbacks are not like MLB players or NBA players where they're just free agents, Pro Bowl free agents just available to sign.
Exactly.
So you either gotta get lucky in the draft or trade the farm, to see if you can get a pick. But yeah, I mean next year is the draft where all the really good quarterbacks are coming. I think there's like 4 or 5 that they say is like gonna be in the that could be a potential first pick. Sorry, first round.
But I mean, but
Hold,
like you
hold,
said
hold,
though,
hold
like
on, Mitch.
who's this?
Mitch, hold on 1 second. We're going to take a break, and then we're going to come back and get your thoughts. All right, we're back. Mitch was just about to give his take on that Rams pick. What were you saying, Mitch?
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, like Galvez mentioned. I mean, even though next season, next draft is supposed to be like really good for quarterbacks and super deep and whatever. It's who's to say that the Rams will pick high, next season. Like what I mean. So it's like, and then Anthony, I mean, you laid it out. Like if you see if you see the quarterback of the future in the draft, I feel like you have to take him. Like imagine, like, can you imagine all the teams that you mentioned? Imagine the Ravens with no Lamar. You know what I mean? Imagine the Packers all those years with no Aaron Rodgers, all because they already had Brett Favre.
Hmm.
Imagine the Packers now after Aaron Rodgers leaves, um, all because they already had Aaron Rodgers and they didn't take Jordan Love. All to just protect Aaron Rodgers' feelings. So I mean, yeah,
And the
like if
and the worst thing you can do is fall into what Pittsburgh has fallen into after Ben Roethlisberger, right? Like
yeah,
they just can't seem to find, you know, like you expect it from the Giants. I mean, sorry, the Jets and all these other like bottom feed franchise, but like the fact that Mike Tomlin was always able to just make it to the playoffs with like second class quarterback is crazy, So they just sometimes, I mean, like the Packers, right? Is it luck or is it just a competent franchise that they went from in 30 years they went from Brett Favre
or
to Aaron Rodgers to Jordan Love and didn't miss a beat,
you
right? And
yeah.
then
Now,
you have
Jordan
these
Love
other
isn't as good as those two guys, but yeah,
no, but he's good enough
he's
to
good
make
enough.
your franchise,
Yeah.
respectable. So, you know,
My take on Jordan Love has always been, because I get to see him 2 games a year. He's like, it's just he always makes that one, big mistake when you're not supposed to make a big mistake. That's always been my knock on him. He's always gonna throw a pick at the worst possible time.
yeah.
And I can always in a close game against us, I can always count on Jordan Love to throw me an interception or at least put the ball in harm's way. You know what I mean? So that's always been my knock on him.
Yeah, I think the thing about Tyson, like I said, I like him, but only having 15 starts thing. I think that usually doesn't work out when they only start for one season. Like, I remember Mark Sanchez. Remember guys when Mark Sanchez was coming out, and he only started that one
Yeah,
season, and Pete was like,
yeah.
"Ooh,
And even Pete Carroll called it
yeah."
like
He was
kind
like,
of.
"I don't think
They
it's
were
gonna
calling and they were calling Pete Carroll a hater.
happen." And then he ended up,
Yeah,
he
but
made.
but if you expect them to start right away, then that's what really comes into play. But
Yeah,
he's gonna, barring an injury from Matthew Stafford, you know,
he's gonna sit and learn
he's gonna sit and learn at least for sure a full year.
Right.
at least one to
You know,
one to
Yeah,
two.
but it's just the question is he a high end? Because I think like if he had gone to the Jets,
uh,
the Jets didn't even want him, right? If he had gone to the
uh,
Jets, that would have been just another disaster, right?
well,
It's just how
yeah,
much can Sean McVay get out of this kid? That's the
yeah.
question.
I mean, the only one thing real quick before it's like they could have really drafted a ready now player because next year's class is so loaded that you can't tell me that they would have had a first round pick or even a high second round pick. You can't tell me. Let me go to this QB class real quick. I mean, it's just like, bro, it's crazy. It's Dante Moore, Archie Manning, that kid
Oh,
Sellers, who's supposed to be really good, Julian Sane from Ohio State, Sorsby, Trinidad Chavez, who looks really good. Um, and then they got that kid from Oklahoma State, and we're not even mentioning Jaden Maivia from USC, right? I know Wilson would love that pick, right?
No,
It's
actually,
like,
Jaden Miami, I'm not much of a fan really.
really?
No, so I've said it 10 times on here that Jaden Miami is to me a pretty good college quarterback. I saw something that said that he might be. He's like he said he's gonna be a. It's like I don't put him in that crop of, and I don't know if
Yeah.
any of those. To
But
me, I don't
but
think.
out of all those, out of all those quarterbacks, you can't tell me they're not as good as Ty Simpson could be.
Right,
I mean, they
Tyson.
must have seen something.
Yeah,
Unless,
I think I probably prefer Arch Manning and Dante Moore to Ty
well,
Simpson
yeah, of
as
course.
an
That,
NFL
yeah,
player.
no, that of course. But you're not going to pick high enough to get your
But
hands
I
on
don't
them.
know if they'll be, like I don't know. It just but I'm trying to think. When's the last time there was a quarterback who was just like a no brainer? Um,
Fernando Mendoza, because the draft class was so weak.
I mean, yeah, but like, do we know that Mendoza will be a, like I like, I mean, I like
Mm.
what he did
No,
this
I see
year.
what you're saying. Like a for sure, no questions asked.
Yeah, like a
Uh,
all pro. Do we
yeah,
know that he's gonna be
yeah.
that, or is it,
No, probably since Joe Burrow, maybe.
right? Joe Burrow was a god in college, and you see how good he's turned out to be. But since
Yeah,
then, and I kind of like to me, I think Mendoza had the best overall season in college last year since Burrow that year at LSU. But I
yeah,
don't know if they're similar, like I said, but I don't know if I was
yeah.
hoping they would get
If there's anything the NBA and the NFL draft has taught us is there's no for sure thing.
right. Um,
X.
okay, so we're gonna take another break, and then when we come back, we're gonna get into this guys wanted to play this blind ranking game, and we're also going to talk about the Michael Jackson movie. Okay, so we'll be right back. All right, we're back. So this blind ranking game the Galvins came up thought of inspired by the Michael Jackson movie, which we'll get to in a second. But yeah, Galvins, what was it? What is it? Explain to people what we're going to be doing here.
So we're each gonna give someone else a list of five cultural icons slash phenomenons slash, you know, music that's been out for 50 years that stood the test of time, music that will in 40, 50 years will still stand the test of time. So just cream of the crop, just the best of the best.
Okay, well, I think since it's your idea, I think you should go first.
Okay, so let's see. All right, so I'll give the list. I'll give this list to Mitch.
Okay.
So I got I try to pick a couple different genres just so just to fuck it, throw
Hmm.
it up there. So the first one, Mitch, I will say the Beatles. Now,
Uh,
just real quick, it's not, you know, who you think is the best artist because that's all subjective, right?
yeah,
This is more, like I said,
cultural impact.
cultural impact and what they meant to the music industry. So the first one is the Beatles.
Starting off with the Beatles. Okay, so there's five. Um, I just feel like where this list could go, I think I wanna cultivate this big impact, especially on the white community. Um, damn. I'll put the Beatles at three.
Okay. Um, I'll throw in a little wrench. Bob Marley.
Oh, see, that's that's the trouble with blind rankings. Because I feel like if you smoke weed, like you listen to Bob Marley,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like, don't all smokers listen to Bob Marley at some point?
yeah. That's like the god of
Yeah.
weed music.
See, if it wasn't a blind ranking, I would probably put him above just for like the crossover effect a little bit. But I'm trying to hold out just in case you try to. I'm trying to hold out my two spot. So I'm gonna put Bob at four.
Bob at four. Okay, okay. Okay. So I know how you feel about this. So I kind of. So we're gonna do Kanye.
Oh, listen. I think I think Kanye has impacted every rapper after him, every rapper that he's lived with. Even a guy like Jay-Z, you look at Jay-Z's, just like the artwork on his albums before and after, being with Kanye for so long. You just see the impact that he's had. Um, Musically, you know, he's been a producer on so many big records. Um, Culture-wise, I mean, the way the way people dress nowadays, with the baggy clothes, I feel like he was one of the first to like switch up the style, and like now everybody kind of dresses like that. So I mean, impact-wise, music-wise, I what you're gonna do, but F it. I'm putting Kanye one.
Oof. Okay, so you have Kanye one. The Beatles. Was that three or four?
I put the Beatles at three, and then I put
Okay.
Bob at four.
Okay. All right. So four, Elvis.
I put Elvis at five.
Okay. So then, and then obviously I was gonna put Michael. So Michael two.
Michael and Kanye, I mean, they're, easily, one A and one B, kind of depending on the day, but
Isn't it crazy that it just goes to show what Kanye is? The fact that he's like, you actually have to think about it. It's amazing.
yeah. I think Kanye and Michael had similar, like, I feel like they have similar impact, especially like music wise, culturally, like impacted like style, like like in the 80s, wasn't everybody trying to like wear the glove? Wasn't everybody trying to wear the red jacket with all the zippers? Like, you
Yeah.
know, who wasn't trying to moonwalk? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Um,
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe you could probably, if it wasn't a blind rating, you could probably put Michael one just because, more. maybe more crossover appeal, even though white kids love Kanye too, but like everybody loves Michael. I think no matter. I
Yeah.
think kind of no matter who you ask, really.
Okay. Uh, who's going? We don't have time for everybody to ask each person. You know, to have three different lists. We don't have time. So each person gets to do one list for the other person, and then who? So okay. So Mitch,
No, no, no. I'm just gonna. So you like Mitch, you could either pick myself or Wilson, and then Wilson, depending on who Mitch picks, there'll just be one list for per. You know what I'm saying?
hmm
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Go around the horn.
Yeah.
Uh, hmm. I said I'm gonna go back at you. I'm gonna go back to Galvez. This is So I did all rappers though.
Okay.
Galvez,
I
try
did
to
all
keep it
rappers.
short. Try to keep it short so I can use it as
Okay.
the short.
Okay.
Your
Okay.
answer.
All right. So let's start off strong. Tupac.
Oh, I'll put him at two, just because I want to leave
Tupac
number
at
one
two.
open.
Okay. Tupac at two. Eminem.
Damn, Eminem. See, I think he was only culturally for white people. I don't know if black or Hispanic people. I mean, yeah, we kind of fucked with his music, but culturally, I don't. Yeah, I put him at five.
Okay.
You guys have 90 seconds.
Uh, Jay-Z.
Jay-Z, I'll put him at three.
Biggie.
Damn. Ah, four.
Kanye.
Yeah, I kind of figured you were gonna pick Kanye, so I was like, yeah, I'll just leave him for number one. But yeah, yeah, I'm pretty happy with that list.
Okay. So
Go through it again.
hmm?
So
Huh?
it's
So it
Kanye
was
at one, Tupac at two,
Jay-Z at three, Biggie at four, and then Eminem at five. If I
Eminem at five.
could, I would flip-flop Biggie and Jay-Z,
okay. So we're gonna take a break, and when we come back, I'll do my little blind ranking thing, and then we'll talk about the Michael Jackson movie. All right, we're back. So I'm gonna do my little blind ranking thing. Galvez, I choose you. It's like a what was it? Knockout we used to
but
play. So yeah, all right.
yeah.
I'm gonna do okay. I'm not gonna tell you what mine are about because then I'm just gonna name and then you'll realize what I did at the end. Okay, so it's gonna give it away though. Oh no, okay, let me see. All right, so okay, here we go.
But you
Okay,
can't start with the obvious one though.
right. But still, okay, so I'm gonna start. Uh, YG.
Oh, gee,
YG.
yeah, that's say five.
I would
Just
say
I don't
five
know.
too.
Yeah.
Huh?
Honestly, I'd say five too. Though it just kind of started off. I don't know where it's going, but I mean, I would say
Yeah.
five.
Okay. Next we have Kendrick Lamar.
Oof.
Oh, I see where this is going. Uh,
I would put him at two.
you know, well, I feel like I'm gonna just give away my top spot. I'll put him at one.
Okay. Next we have Ice Cube.
Put him at. I'll put him at three.
I agree. Three,
Okay. Next we have The Game.
four,
Yeah, four.
And last but not least, Snoop Dogg.
yeah,
Number one.
two.
Wait, you have Snoop where, Dallas?
Number one, just because I put Kendrick at two.
Mm-hmm. Well, all right. Well,
West Coast.
guess we went out with a whimper. Sorry, guys. All right.
No,
So
that was good because all West Coast. Because I mean, a guy like Cube, right? It's like the- like do we count the movies too? You know what I mean? Like the movies
Well, I didn't
Friday.
really follow Galvin's rules. I basically was like, to me, it wasn't. I was just thinking about who's the, 'cause to me those were the.
I mean, you could have instead of YG, you could have put Dre.
But see, Dre, but it wasn't
Yeah,
really about influence. To me, Dre is not a rapper. Rapper, he's a producer who raps.
producer rapper. Yeah,
Yeah,
So that's why I didn't want to put DJ Quick in it. Even though DJ Quick is cold, or Warren G. I wanted to choose five people who are rappers first. That's why I put YG in it because he was the closest thing I could. Now, when it comes to this Michael Jackson movie, right? Me and Mitch
yeah,
haven't seen it yet, but Galvin saw it and he loved it. Galvin,
yeah.
what are your notes on the film?
So as I was telling Wilson, the crate like so basically the movie takes place in the part where we didn't know about this Michael, right? We were either too young, we were either not born or we were just way too young.
yeah.
And so I was telling Wilson earlier, is like when we finally learned about cultural appreciation, by that time Michael was already, he was the crazy Michael, right? The quote unquote pedophile, the quote unquote druggie,
Yeah.
the quote unquote lunatic, right? We didn't see the best of Michael. And so this movie really kind of shows him as a child and then, throughout the 80s. Um, and obviously it was you know, his family had a lot of influence. So they were not going to put anything bad on Michael. But I just thought it was just like if you just want to be entertained and you want to go watch a good movie,
Hmm.
it was amazing. Shout out to Jafar. He did a amazing job. Just like I know with technology now, they can make anyone look like anything, but but his dancing, I don't know how much of his singing was in there, but I mean just his performance was top notch. Top, 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 top notch.
Okay.
Really good.
I,
Definitely
I
recommend it.
yeah, I follow Kev on stage,
Mhm.
and he kind of pretty much said the same thing that he pretty much said the same thing you said. He pretty much said Jafar was like pretty much the best parts of the movie, along with Coleman Domingo. But he said, yeah, you just it's like just entertaining movie.
Yeah, I listened to the Midnight Boys with Van Lathan. They talked about it. None of them seemed to like it that much. They thought it was basically just like a Michael Jackson like highlight reel, um, played by Jafar Jackson. They said they didn't like that he didn't dive deep. The movie didn't dive deep enough into like what made Michael tick as an artist that allowed him to create those records that made him the most famous person in the world and the
Well,
greatest entertainer of all time. And obviously the other stuff, they said it, me and Guy was always talking about the NWA movie and how it made Dre and Ice Cube look like like gods basically and not men. Um, and
yeah.
this movie, like I said, I haven't seen it, but it seemed like. But now
Mm.
they say that, I think Guy was said that the movie ends in 1988, which is before all the other allegations and stuff like that started. And I guess I guess supposedly there's going to be another movie, I think, which hopefully that will cover
They
that because
they
you can't.
they said there. Here's the problem. If their plan was, hey, this is gonna be like a 2 or 3 part series where it's like the early, mid, and late, they could have definitely dragged it out a little more. Like the Jackson 5 version portion of the movie. But it's a 2 hour movie. I mean, you can only fit so much in it. It's not like it's a series or it's a you know. Um, but no, it was good. Definitely um, one of the better biopics I've seen in a while.
All right. Uh,
Whoa, okay.
okay.
Yeah.
Um, Mitch, do you have anything you like to say to an old friend of ours?
Um, you know, Yeah, Herbert was going to come on. He hasn't seen Michael yet either, but he was going to come on and appreciate the greatness of Michael Jackson. Um, Unfortunately, due to the Rams, reaching for Ty Simpson, we ended up running out of time. So sorry, Herbert.
Yeah, sorry, Herbert. All right, so he said the Rams reaching for Ty Simpson. Okay, all right, so yeah, sorry, Herbert. So before we get out of here, just a reminder to hit that subscribe button next to the complete podcast network and the Father Show on Twitter and
Oh,
Instagram at TC Pod Network. You can also send
we should
feedback
also
and mailbag questions to Complete Lakers Podcast at gmail.com.
sorry to the people.
We
Shane Murray's not
are
here.
out.
He doesn't care about you, and he doesn't care about Michael either. Apparently, sorry, people. Sorry, Michael.